Hi class, chapter 2 is about practicing entrepreneurship, and I hope with this chapter that you are going to start thinking of some ideas, because this kind of gets you started in the process of entrepreneurship, or thinking about what could I create if you don't have something in mind. So hopefully this chapter, especially towards the end, will help you do that. So here's a notable quote. You may have wondered why so many things seem to be harder and take longer to accomplish than you would like, and why both things seem to be increasing. We don't have the answer in every case, but here's some explanation. The way we have been taught to solve problems was designed for a different world, and now to deal with uncertainty today, we need a different approach. So some of the learning for this chapter: compare and contrast the prediction and creation approaches, create a portfolio of the 5 skills that you might need to build a mindset for entrepreneurship, distinguish between entrepreneurship as a method or a process, illustrate key components for the practice of entrepreneurship, and access the role of deliberate practice in achieving mastery. So here are the main perspectives on entrepreneurship. The prediction approach views entrepreneurship as a linear process. We'll go through this in a minute, where steps are followed and the outcomes would be predictable. It works best in times of certainty, but as you well know, we're in lots of times of uncertainty, especially in this global world and terrorism and all kinds of things happening. The creation approach views entrepreneurship as a method that requires practice, building a future through trial and error, theory of effectuation, the future, which is meaning the future is unpredictable, yet it's controlled. And here's a comparison in table 2.1 of prediction versus creation. Prediction, you've got big planning. Creation, you're doing little small actions to achieve your goal or to achieve your idea. Prediction, you have to wait until you get what you need, like the right financing. Creation, you start with what you have. Prediction is an expected return, like on your investment or your idea, where creation, you are willing to accept there may be loss. It's linear prediction, where it's iterative with creation. Prediction has optimizing everything, where creation, you're utilizing experimentation with your idea. Prediction is avoid failure at all costs, versus a creation approach, which is sometimes you fail and you leverage that fail to learn from and move on. Prediction is competitive, where creation is collaborative, and prediction is unknowable, and creation is unknowable. So we'll go through all these. Figure 2.1 is the creation approach in action, where you're thinking of ideas like an Indian cookbook, a cooking show, a restaurant. You're kind of creating all these different ideas relative to a main theme. So just some thinking to do on your own. What strengths and weaknesses do you see in the creation view of entrepreneurship? And now we're going to go through the 5 skills most important to the practice of entrepreneurship. They are play, experimentation, empathy, creativity, and action. And we'll go through these. The skill of play is like using reality games to help you be more creative. It frees the imagination. You're sitting there playing ping pong, you might think of ideas, and it opens our minds to opportunities. So engage in play. I know you hear this with the children, that they need time to just come home from school and play. It allows creativity to develop and help be more innovative. The skill of empathy is being able to understand the emotions and intention, thoughts, and needs of others, empathizing with them, like our customers, if we're a business owner, to see what they need, our stakeholders. And you can help identify needs if you can empathize with other people and see what they're seeing kind of through their perspective. The skill of creativity requires openness to the world. Entrepreneurs can create opportunities instead of looking for them, and it's taking action under conditions of uncertainty. The skill of experimentation is acting in order to learn, like collecting real-world information. I think the book uses an example of a new energy drink, where you ask your classmates or people who you think would be interested in this what they think about it. Testing new concepts, asking questions, validating your assumptions, like, oh, these flavors are going to be the best flavors for energy drink, or it should contain this in it. So it's based on action, not research. And then the skill of reflection. is reflecting on your feelings and knowledge on how things went. For example, after you did a focus test market, it provides new perspectives and it allows you to evaluate outcomes and draw some conclusions. So how can you practice reflection? These are the 6 main ways: narrative, emotional, perceptive, analytical, evaluative, and critical. I'll go through them. Narrative reflection is reflecting back. So these are the ways to reflect on, let's say, an idea. There's narrative, emotional reflection, perceptive, analytical, evaluative, reflection, and critical. So I'm going to kind of go through each of these. Let's say you had a new idea, and I think, again, the book uses a new energy drink, and you presented it to a group of people. So narrative would be reflecting upon how things went, what took place, what was said, who was involved. Emotional was, how did you feel like when you presented your new idea to this group of people? Were you nervous, anxious? Perceptive reflection focuses your perceptions as well as the reactions of others and how different viewpoints, needs affected the experience. And then analytical reflection, you can analyze a situation by thinking, what did I learn by presenting to this group? What else do I need to do? And then you can also do an evaluative focus, again, on what went well. Was the experience positive or negative, useful or helpful? And critical reflection is looking at the part you played in the presentation, how you approached it, what else might have you done, what could you do better. So, it's hard to reflect. Lots of people don't like to do that, but it's a good thing to do on how things went. And we will go through those. So the 5 most important skills of practice of entrepreneurship. Here is it in a little summary graph: experimentation, play, creativity, empathy, and then in the center of all this is reflecting back. Let me go back to all those. Another critical thinking question: do desirable qualities in an employee differ from what could be desirable qualities in an entrepreneur? So think about that. So entrepreneurship is more a method, a process, and we're going to compare these two. So the process approach involves planning and prediction. This is probably typically what you've been taught in business classes, where you think of an idea, you test it, you come up with financing, you write a business plan. And this method involves trial and error, requiring iterative learning, practicing, and reflecting. So here's the traditional steps of entrepreneur. Like I said, think of an idea, you market research, get financial projections, find a partner team, write a business plan, get financing, hire people, bring your product service to market, manage a business, and plan exit. Where entrepreneurship in a different matter is assumptions underlying the new way. It applies to novices and experts regardless of experience levels. It's inclusive, which means any organization can engage in this in any stage of the business. Requires continuous practice with a focus on doing, then learning, and it's designed for an unpredictable environment. This is a little different approach, and here's comparing the two. So entrepreneurship as a method, like we went through the traditional approach, versus entrepreneurship as a process. All right, so let's look at the practice of entrepreneurship. This emphasizes early action over planning in the traditional method. Do what you can, try what you can't, try early, fail sooner, experiment with many ideas. So it's saying don't spend so much time planning, just start. It's almost like start doing. Okay, here's another critical thinking question. Give an example of how an entrepreneur has solved a problem, like a solar battery charger, for those of you who spend time in the outdoors and your cell phone loses its charge. Discuss failure and reflection could have led to solution. Okay, and we're on to 8 components of the practice of entrepreneurship. So remember, this is like the new kind of thinking about entrepreneurship versus the traditional method of lots of planning and trying the traditional business approach. So first of all, and I'm hoping this will spark some ideas for you all who don't have any idea of what you want to do as an entrepreneur, is reflect on your desired impact on the world. Start with what you have at hand. Describe what's an affordable loss and calculate the ideal today. So go back. Reflect on your desired impact on the world. For example, I want to help older people have a better life when they hit 80. Okay, start with the means at hand is what are my skills? What do I have available to me today to kind of maybe have that impact on the world? Describe what your affordable loss is. Like, if I start on this, I might have to give up my free time in the evenings. Okay, let's see, we're going to start through, and we're on to the other 8 components. Take small action. Just start with something. You don't have to have this huge, big plan to start realizing what you want your idea to be. Network and enroll others. That means look at what people you have in contact with, past people that you've dealt with that could help you with your idea, and build on what you learn. Reflect on your idea and be honest with yourself about how it's going to go. So again, here's more of a pictorial of those 8 steps. Means at hand, who are you? What do you know? Whom do you know? Affordable loss, what are you willing to lose to take action, like financial, money, time, emotional, reputational cost. And network, share your ideas with others in search of all resources. So under using this practice to achieve ongoing success, here's some tips. Concentrate on what you do best. So for example, if you're good at programming or video games, and you have a lot of experience with that, you might come up with an idea to expand on that. Don't be satisfied with the status quo. Be innovative. Practice continuous improvement on your idea. Choose the right people to work with. As you build your entrepreneurial venture, vendors, bankers, employees. Networking is important. The more people you know, the more people you can ask for help. Don't be afraid to take risks. Take one day at a time and follow whatever you're passionate about and have fun with it. You might fail a few times, but a lot of entrepreneurs, they're passionate about certain things. They might fail at it, but they have a great time creating things, and they keep on. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the concept of deliberate practice for entrepreneurship. And what deliberate practice is: a method of carrying out carefully focused efforts to improve current performance on whatever your idea might be. And it does require high levels of focus, attention, and concentration. It strengthens performance of whatever your business idea is by identifying weaknesses and improving on them. So like I said, you got to really focus on it. It must be consistent, maintained, and repeated to produce lasting results. It requires continuous feedback on outcomes so you can improve on it, and involves setting goals beforehand. Also involves self-observation and reflection after these practice sessions have been done. So this whole concept of deliberate practice is like, I think, like medical students practicing their skills over and over, or surgeons, or EMS students who practice actually carrying out the things they'd have to do out in the field over and over, or athletes. Okay, it helps people learn how to learn. And that's what all this deliberate practice is about learning how kind of to be an entrepreneurship. So no need to feel daunted. You have skills already that you can start using right away to be an entrepreneurship. All right, so here's your challenge. I would like you to think about this. This is in your book too. It's called the 3-Hour Challenge, to help you kind of get going maybe on thinking of an idea. And here's how it works. I think it's in your book on page 54. So you may have not given a lot of thought to your entrepreneurial plans and goals, and this will help you maybe clarify what is your goal of being an entrepreneur, or what's your idea you want to create. You can commit to doing things for just 3 hours or less. So give this mind shift challenge a try. So what I'd like you to do in the first hour or the first half an hour, write down your impact statement. For example, what drives your curiosity or motivation to engage and enthusiasm? Like, what are you passionate about? You like sports, you like, again, playing video games, you like the outdoors. Your impact statement, it's not an idea, it's more a statement that expresses your desire. What type of impact do you want to make as an entrepreneur? Like, I want to help children learn in a more innovative, creative, fun way, like elementary children. So take a while to write down your impact statements, and you might come up with, 2 or 3 that you think about, what you're passionate about, what motivates you. The next hour or half an hour, share your statement with other people in your life, and try to find someone who shares a similar vision, because they can help you with ideas and expand on it. All right? And then the last hour, half an hour, once you find your person, have a meeting. You might find somebody who's in a business similar to that, or in education, or who's developed a video game. Meet somewhere unusual, where you go and share your desired impact, where it's coming from, and 3 potential business ideas that the 2 of you could pursue together to fulfill your impact. So this could be with someone, or you could bounce the idea off of them. So I'd like you to do this just to kind of think about what is your impact on the world you want to have, and that might help you develop an idea. All right, so that concludes chapter 2. And if you have any questions, let me know.